All right, we're here at my outdoor worm bin, and what we're gonna do is check on that recyclable compostable tray and see if it's vermicompostable or see how far it got. But the first thing I'm gonna do here is we're going to take out some castings. I usually harvest this about once a week or so. We are going to do that, and then finally we'll have a little time lapse at the end. So let me get the bin set up and we'll start harvesting. All right, so here are some of the things that I use to harvest. I use another 20-gallon bag. I'll use this to put the big chunks in. And here is the game changer right here. This is from my Vermi hut. This is just one of the trays, and it comes with 1/4-inch holes in it. So it's a built-in sifter. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now I treat this as a continuous flow bin, so I'll come in here about once a week and I'll just gather some castings from the outside, and from there we'll get some really good harvested worm castings for my garden and for my seed starting. And then the big stuff I just put in here. All right, so what we have here is just some awesome worm castings. You might get the occasional piece of cardboard or something like that, but for the most part, these are ready to go right into the garden. All right, I'll clean this up and we'll be ready for our feeding of the outdoor worm bin. Now with those worm castings, I'm gonna make some worm casting tea, and I've got this little nylon mesh bag that I will put in some rainwater that also has a bubbler in it to make some worm casting tea, and I'll do that for about 48 hours. Maybe I'll do another video on my worm casting tea, but that's what I'm gonna do with this. And let's go ahead and jump into our regularly scheduled feeding. We are looking for that tray, and most of the stuff on top here is what we had as excess from sifting. And I do that sifting, I try and do it every time I feed, which ends up being about once a week, but it's been a little bit since I've done it. And it's just a great way to get the castings out and always have fresh castings. So here is the tray. I'm not seeing much degradation with it. Let's go ahead and kind of lift it out, or at least come to the sides. And if the bottom's not intact, I don't want to kind of lift the whole thing out, but let me see if I can get under and see if it's intact. Okay, it feels intact. So let me go ahead and lift it out. It's a lot softer than it was when we started, that's for sure. And oh my gosh, look at that. Look at all those worms right there. That is just like a river of worms at the bottom. So let's see what it kind of looks like under here. All right, we've got a little bit of mites, it looks like, right there. And definitely liquid. So it looks like where the imprint of the liquid is, that's where the worms were. But let's go ahead and kind of dig out this and see if there's just a ton of worms in here. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna dump it. And then we'll just rebuild it. So, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Check it out. There are just a ton of worms and mites. And it looks like where the apple cores are, that's where the mites are. Lots of mites right on this, right here. But this is just, look at all those worms. This is where all the worms were. I was trying to pick out worms from what we sifted, and there just weren't that many. And I think it's because they all decided to come right here. Look at that. That is awesome. Whoa. Yeah, I like this. I like putting it in a tray. Definitely see all the worms right there. So it looks like they've eaten all the fast food, and what they have left is the banana peel, the apples, and pretty much everything else they took care of. This looks like something a little bit more fibrous. I'm not sure what that was, but yeah, this kind of worked out pretty good. Really good, in fact. So this was hard, and now it's a lot softer. So I would say, because it absorbs so much moisture, I think that the worms are going to be able to get into it and kind of eat it, use it as bedding and eat it. So let's go ahead and just kind of aerate the rest of the bin, and then we will refill this one. And I'll do a little time lapse real quick and you can see those mites at the bottom. All right, time to aerate this, and I'm just gonna be kind of quick about it. Oh yeah. I'll just go from the sides to the middle and push it out. That way we know there's no pockets of just castings that are getting matted down and may go anaerobic or something like that. Everything's kind of getting in there, and you can see this just has fabulous castings all throughout. Here's some of that grape stem, and then I'm running into mangoes. I think I just put so many mangoes in here, and here's that mango seed that we've been following for what seems like an eternity. It is getting smaller and smaller around the edges. Let's dig around here. All right, I think I've gotten to all corners, so let's set up a feeding zone again. And I think what I may do is I may put those mango seeds in the bottom. I'm just gonna kind of get all those worms out. I like having that in there for the juices to drain, but I'm gonna put those mango seeds in, and then we'll put the feeding on top of that. We'll go from there. I think those are, there we go. There's the third mango seed. Then I'll put some more bedding in, and now that we know these things are going to produce a bunch of worm balls in there, let's go ahead and put some of the feeding that we're going to go with. We've got some apples, bananas, pears, strawberry tops, lots of strawberry tops. In fact, you're probably going to start seeing a lot of strawberries because I think I have like 25 strawberry plants in my garden, and they're about to produce like crazy. Now this is a little bit of a small feeding for this bin, but with some of the slower food, we'll let them go ahead and get to that, and then they obviously have all this bedding to go through. And I'll give them a generous portion of coffee here. Now, if you watched my last video, you probably saw I had a huge amount of coffee. I ended up dumping a lot of it out for my regular compost because it was just getting too high. And then we'll do our grit, which really you can just put the grit whenever you want. I just kind of like it. My order of things, my last little thing to remember, but certainly you can put the grit in whatever order you want. And we'll bury it up, and make sure you stay tuned because we are going to do a worm time lapse. And it's probably going to be assisted by all the worms that I already see right here. And if you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. And I've got 2 other bins, and I've got playlists, so hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll know when I start another video, which has been going about every other day. So let's go ahead and put the worms on for our time lapse. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna give them a little bit of an assist by putting some bedding down, and I will wet this with about a cup or 2 of rainwater just to keep the moisture high while we are out of our rainy season here in Florida. And that will about do it. So I hope you have a great day, and happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.